What if I told you the most important win of Alex Eala's season wasn't about the scoreline at all? Because on paper, a straight sets win looks simple. Clean, controlled, routine, even. But if you actually watch what unfolded between Alex Eala and Julia Grabher, you'd know this was anything but easy. This was tension. This was pressure. This was a young player stepping into a moment where things could have slipped away very quickly, and choosing not to let that happen. And here's the thing that should really grab your attention right now. This match might quietly become the turning point of Alex Eala's entire 2026 season, because clay hasn't exactly been her comfort zone. Let's be real about it. When you look at Eala's history on clay, it tells a story that's still unfinished. There have been flashes of brilliance, moments where she looks like she belongs at the very best, but also matches where things fall apart just as quickly as they start. It's been inconsistent. It's been frustrating. And most importantly, it's been the surface where questions still exist. So when she walked onto that court in Linz, this wasn't just another first-round match. This was a test of identity. And early on, you could feel it. Julia Grabher didn't come in as a passive opponent. She came in swinging, applying pressure, forcing rallies, and more importantly, creating chances. Break point after break point started to pile up, and suddenly the match began to tilt towards something dangerous. 10 break points. Think about that for a second. 10 opportunities to break serve. That's not just pressure. That's sustained, relentless pressure. And this is where matches are usually lost. Because when a player faces that many break points, it's not just physical anymore. It becomes mental. Every serve feels heavier. Every rally feels tighter. Every mistake feels bigger than it actually is. But this is where Alex Eala did something that doesn't always show up in stats. She stayed there. She didn't panic. She didn't rush. She didn't try to hit her way out of trouble. She absorbed it. And that's why her post-match reaction actually matters more than the match itself. When she said, "I think I kept the intensity well throughout the match," that wasn't just a generic answer. That was a window into what she was feeling on the court. Because intensity isn't just about hitting harder or running faster. It's about staying mentally locked in when everything around you is trying to pull you out of the match. And against Julia Grabher, that's exactly what she did. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Grabher only converted one of those 10 break points. One. That's not just luck. That's resilience. That's composure. That's a player who, in key moments, trusted her game enough to execute under pressure. And if you're trying to figure out why this win feels bigger than a standard first-round result, that's your answer right there. Because those are the matches that shape players. Not the easy wins. Not the dominant performances. It's the matches where things almost go wrong and don't. Now, let's talk about something else that stood out. And honestly, it might be one of the most underrated aspects of Alex Eala's rise. Her connection with the crowd. Because during that match, it wasn't just about tennis. You could hear the Filipino support. You could feel the energy. And when she was asked about it afterward, her response wasn't rehearsed or overly polished. It felt real. It means so much. Simple words. But behind that is something powerful. Because when a player feels supported, especially far from home, it changes the way they compete. It gives them something extra in tight moments. And considering how many tight moments she faced in that match, you can't ignore how much that energy may have helped her push through. And then she did something that tells you exactly who she is as a person and as a player. She thanked the local Austrian fans. That matters because it shows awareness. It shows humility. And it shows that she understands a bigger picture beyond just winning matches. But let's not get too comfortable here, because everything we've talked about so far is just the setup. The real story is what comes next. Jelena Ostapenko. Now this is where things shift from promising to potentially explosive. Because if you know anything about Jelena Ostapenko, you know she doesn't do quiet matches. She doesn't do predictable. She plays high-risk, high-reward tennis that can either blow opponents off court or completely unravel. And here's where it gets fascinating. Alex Eala leads their head-to-head. 2 matches, 2 wins. Let that sink in. A young, rising player, already holding a perfect record against a Grand Slam champion. Their first meeting? Straight sets. Controlled. Confident. Their second? Absolute chaos. Eala loses the first set 0-6. Most players would mentally check out at that point, but not her. She fights back, flips the momentum, and suddenly she's leading the match before it ends due to Ostapenko retiring. Now I want you to think about what that does psychologically heading into their third meeting. Because on one side, you have Ostapenko, a former champion, a player who knows she has the weapons to dominate, but she also knows she hasn't beaten Eala yet. And on the other side, you have Eala, who now has proof. Proof that she can handle that power. Proof that she can survive the chaos. Proof that she can win. That changes everything. But here's the twist that not enough people are talking about. This match is on clay. And that complicates things. Because while Ostapenko has had success on big stages, clay can slow things down. It can neutralize power just enough to force longer rallies. It can expose inconsistency. And if there's one thing that has occasionally disrupted Ostapenko's game, it's extended exchanges where patience becomes necessary. So the question becomes, can Alex Eala use that to her advantage? Or will the weight of expectation finally catch up to her? Because let's be honest, expectations are rising. She's no longer just a promising talent. She's now someone people are watching, someone people are analyzing, someone people are starting to believe in, and that brings pressure of a different kind. Now here's something else you need to consider. This win in Linz was her 6th career victory on clay at the WTA level. 6 wins. That's not a massive number. It tells you she's still building, still learning, still adapting. But it also means every single win carries more weight. Every victory adds confidence. Every match adds experience. And every performance shapes how she approaches the next challenge. Which brings us to something that could quietly become a huge opportunity. Stuttgart. Because after Qin Wenjun withdrew, Alex Eala gets a spot in the main draw. And suddenly, she's stepping into a tournament where the level jumps significantly. We're talking about players like Aryna Sabalenka, Iga Swiatek, Coco Gauff. This is where things get real. This is where potential meets reality. And this is where we start to see whether Alex Eala is ready to move from rising star to legitimate threat. But before we even get there, everything circles back to this next match against Jelena Ostapenko, because this isn't just about advancing to the next round. This is about making a statement. If she wins, it's no longer a coincidence. It's no longer a small sample size. It becomes a pattern. 3 wins against a Grand Slam champion. That changes how players see you. That changes how tournaments view you. And most importantly, that changes how you see yourself. But if she loses, it doesn't erase what she's done, but it slows the momentum. It brings back some of those questions. It reminds everyone that consistency is still something she needs to build. And that's why this moment feels so important. Because tennis careers aren't built on one big win. They're built on sequences, on momentum, on stacking performances together until suddenly you're not surprising anyone anymore. You're expected to win. And maybe, just maybe, that's where Alex Eala is heading. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Alex Eala can make it 3-0 against Jelena Ostapenko? Or is this where the streak finally ends? Because this match might tell us everything we need to know about her 2026 season. And if you've been watching closely, you already know something is building here.